Hello and welcome to another episode of Pokémath. My name is Stefan Eriksson, and today, ranking some full art supporters in Sun and Moon, part 1, because there's too many of them, is the one and only, the Joe from Omnipoke. Hello, Joe.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me on.
Oh, you're most welcome. I'm really glad you had the time to join. It's fantastic having somebody on who knows a lot of stuff about Pokemon.
No problem.
So, what are we going to do today, guys? We're going to rate some full art supporters. This is the third episode of these where we started first with the black and white supporters. Then we had X and Y, and now we have Sun and Moon. And you may have guessed Sun and Moon is quite substantial, to say the least. So I divide this in part 1 and 2, so you also get another guest for part 2 later on. But first, for part 1, I have Joe here from Omnipoke joining me, so maybe we can get some good discussions going, make a nice tier list, because why am I doing this again? Well, I'm gathering evidence or data. I like data because we can make cool analysis on data, so we can try to predict some price fluctuations of cards and playability and artwork. That matters too, apparently, right? So I see on my list here, and we're going to discuss lilies, and that one's going to be fun because then we're going to see some real price discrepancies happening, and everybody here can guess why that's so. I'm not going to say much about it, but we'll leave when we get there. Are you ready, Joe?
Yes, I'm ready.
You're warmed up, I see. But yeah, we're not going to start with Lily. We're going to start with something a little more. I'm going to predict here and say not S tier. We're starting with Lima, and
Lima.
Lima. Yeah, if I can pronounce this correctly. I'm just going to give up on pronouncing things correctly. I'm just going to do whatever go I have at it. But what is your take on this card? Like first glance.
I mean, it basically saw no play in the metagame, right? Very, very weak hand disruption. It is still hand disruption, which is normally quite a premium effect, but when it's coin flips, you're not too happy about it.
No, true.
It's a male, therefore its value is a lot lower.
We're not going to talk directly with value here, but you can maybe comment on the artwork, and I don't think that's awesome.
I mean, the artwork is less appealing. Yeah. I don't think he's not necessarily in a cool pose or anything like that. Not really a memorable character either, too much. So I think definitely I'm looking towards the lower tier. I would probably start off with an F, to be honest.
That is harsh judgment, though. So for people who've seen what dumped in F tier before, I'm just going to mention another candidate for F tier. Kahili, I think, was an F tier, and I think Charon was an F tier. So you're kind of putting it down with those guys, or what do you think about that? Okay, whoa, okay. That was a flat out, yeah, okay. So guys, you're seeing on my screen right now, I'm finding Lima as we speak, and then I'm just gonna drag that one in and drag it straight down. We gotta start out the harsh. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, I'm gonna have a lot of Fs, I think.
Wow.
If it's unplayable, it already starts. I don't think it's going above a D if it's unplayable.
I looked at a lot of the other episodes we had. I think I remember on top of my head we had one F tier card in each episode. But okay, they were smaller. This is bigger, and there was a lot of them. But I'm gonna
think F was my largest tier when I did this on my own earlier.
So people, if you want to see another take on it, go and take Joe's video on this. But Joe, I bet you didn't put Lily as F tier. And for those people out there who've been living under a rock on this Pokemon TCG, there's 2 prints of Lilies. I have both prints up here on screen. Sure, the card effect's the same, but we may differentiate tiers if, the artwork is significantly, quote, better. Let's try and be as objective as we possibly can, and just appeal to the market here, right? Lily, what do you think?
Well, I think she is probably. I think Hat Lily is probably an A tier. Very, very playable card. Really powerful effect for the early game consistency. Saw a lot of play, basically until the supporter rule change. Really, she was really, really strong.
Very, very good card indeed. For those who don't know, it's basically a Bianca Plus, if you really want to go that way, with a super good turn 1 effect in the Tapu Lele meta. Massive.
Yeah, so I think, and also, again, big character in the video game, so well recognized, well liked. So yeah, I would probably put Hat Lily in A tier, and I would probably put No Hat Lily in S tier for incredible artwork. The background colors in this card in real life is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, we can look at it here. It looks super
foreground.
cool. It just looks good. End of it. But so you're putting Lily together with, like, you know, say another card that typically is an S tier candidate is, say, Professor Sycamore was an S tier candidate because, well, look at the game. Discard your hand, draw 7. It doesn't get much better than that. Yep. But we cannot deny that Lily was a fantastic card when it was legal in Standard before rule change. But still solid. Like, I have no arguments against this. Like, you were a little harsh in the beginning, but I think we're flipping like from bottom tier to top tier. I see. Speaking of which, I don't think you're gonna give Kukui an F tier. I don't think so.
No, I really like Kukui. Great character in the game. I think the artwork is awesome as well. Nice colors, and he's just cool. Just like shirtless professors, definitely wacky and different to most of the things. And again, really useful card effect. Damage mod is great. It's all playing a ton of different things.
You play it yourself, right?
Yeah, I've played this card a lot. In all sorts, really. It could end up in Zoroark variants. It could end up in, like, Lapras, Bulu, like, Buzz. It ended up in, like, so many decks just because damage mod was super premium.
You heard it, guys. Lapras with Kukui. There you go. I even played in Warp Break, like, just for a take on it. Like, you were sitting on the receiving end of Warp Break at some point, weren't you, Joe?
Oh, I was. It was end of the day. I'd basically already resigned to the L. So we just had a chilled game.
I have never in my life played such a game where I knew the odds of winning was 99.99 before you walked into the game.
I'm pretty sure you already sat down and basically rubbing your hands as I was walking up to you.
I think at some point I even did that, you know, I did that where I already pushed the slip in the middle of the table. Like, I already pushed it forward.
Yeah.
Totally not arrogant at all. No.
No, I agreed with you. I had the pen. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. That was memorable. I played 2 Kukuis in WAP just because damage modifier were great. Like, it was great. But where are we gonna put this Kukui fella?
I think he's a solid B. I think he rounds out B quite nicely.
Yeah, because again, he's very versatile, could go in many decks. Damage mod is great, and well, at the +2 cards, that's not bad at all. Like in a previous episode, we ranked Giovanni, which was terrible, but it's still, that was because it didn't combine draw with the damage mod. If you take these two effects individually, meh. Yeah, okay. Draw 2 is trash, but damage mod's still decent. Put them together, you got a great card.
Yeah, and that card draw effect is actually like underrated, because if you look at Leon, it's basically seeing no play right now, and that's in theory a buff because it's an additional 10 in damage mod.
Yeah, but
maybe it'll eventually see play, but at the moment, like, the addition of cards made it just like that much more usable in tight spots, so that's pretty cool.
I think another thing that needs to be mentioned here is that there's a power creep effect, I think, over time from Kukui up to Leon. I think that +10 was...
Yeah, it's not like a huge jump, right? Yeah.
No, but there was something. But what are we for next, guys? Because we got a lot to mention today. Joe, this card is amazing. I love playing this card. I played it in all kinds of Disrupt you could think about. Anything from Hoopa to Sylveon to whatever you name it that's super annoying to play against. Or, you know, it was fun for me, but I don't know about my opponents. But yeah, this is a good card. I'm not going to give it an S tier, I swear. But I still think it's a very good card.
What's this, the Team Skull?
It's the Team Skull. It is.
And I love the artwork for this card as well in real life.
Artwork is really good. Like, I'm not going to argue there. It's really good, but we're also going to be fair. As much as we both may like the artwork, this is not S tier material. I don't think so.
It's not an S. I'd actually probably pop it alongside Kukui. It wasn't like defining in control, but it was pretty important. It was definitely one of the key pieces. And it basically made its way into every controlling deck of the time, so it was pretty important to play.
And there was nothing better than just dropping this randomly on turn 1. Like, your opponent didn't have a turn yet. You just drop it and you're just like, okay, let's take a look what you have, because there's also the whole information part of this card.
Sure.
That was underrated by a lot of players. They just thought, I discard energy, which is good. That's great. But the information part was also important.
Very true.
Oh, that was an easy card. And yeah, Haaland up next. Like, it saw play a little, like, right? Like a little play.
Oof, yeah.
Okay, more play than Lima. Let's get that out of the way.
Yeah, I'm thinking of putting him directly above Lima, but still pretty low.
Yeah, like
It's probably an E for me, right?
So you shuffle your hand in, and if you use your GX, right, you draw 7. If not, 4. So I did see it with Drampa a little bit.
That was the only success it saw, right? Because
Yeah,
you played 4 Leles and you typically big wheeled straight away.
yeah. Well, so if people are looking at my screen right now, that Hala just jumped in on E straight away. Like, that's easy. Yeah. That was easy. Like, I'm gonna say, Joe, I don't think I've rated cards this fast like before. This is efficient, like boom. But I'm gonna be efficient for you. The next one I'm gonna dump down F tier, and you can try and guess which one it is.
I've got my cards all over in order, so they're not in set order. So I actually have no idea here.
It says draw 3 cards.
Oh, you're joking. Look at the artwork though. Oh, yeah. Bless him.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna admit, this is like the best artwork of all those draw 3 fellas. Like, just get that out of the way. But
facts.
You cannot get around that draw 3 is absolute the worst. Like, okay, maybe besides beauty, because that card is actual trash. But if you're gonna rank this higher than F tier, there's something wrong. Even though the artwork is very forgiving in that sense.
True. All right, he's an F. He's a happy F though. Top of F.
Yeah, top of the F tier. I'll give you that. We're gonna get more fellas down in F tier, I swear, guys. So, but the next one, I'm gonna say this card was really good with Zoroark, because Mallow dumped 2 cards on top and used trade. You had whatever you needed.
Yeah, Mallow was pretty broken.
But how long you played, Joe? Did you play when Oracle was a thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
I've sort of revisited old formats since, so I wasn't actually playing then, but I am I've discovered the format. Yeah.
Yeah. I started after I started in Emerald, but when I just started, Oracle just rotated, and all I heard about was like, oh boo hoo, that card was gone, where, it was so broken, and Mallow, that was an Oracle. Yeah, in the literal sense.
Yeah. Absolutely insane effect. Even saw play in like a ton of non-Zoroark decks just for like outs. When you had Lele, it was just solid.
The card was just great. Like, there's nothing better than Mallow and then put your puzzles on top or something like that, you know?
A lot of combination pieces. Mallow was popular as well. She was in the anime. Good artwork as well. So a lot to like about Mallow, I think.
So the whole question is it S tier or is it S plus or whatever? Are we going to invent S plus for that? Like, this is good. Like,
I mean, I think she's pretty safe in S.
Yeah, this is hard to argue against. Like, you don't get better effects than this. Like, this is a fantastic effect. In other games, this would just be insta-ban.
Yeah.
And speaking of really good effects in stall decks, Acerola. That was a treat to play. There was nothing better than people, they just hit you on your Gigas with 150 or something, good solid damage. And you'd be like, Acerola, you just, wasted your energy. Ha ha ha.
Yeah. I mean, it was good just in traditional decks, right? Any Zoroark deck loved it. Decidueye decks loved it. It was just good in a lot of decks.
Yeah, what was that whole thing like? You would have Forest of Giant Plants, you would take up your plume, and then you do your stuff, right? And then you put it back down and be like,
two more Decidueyes, and then the plume at the end. Yeah. Really solid card.
Yeah, we're looking high again, aren't we? Like, really high.
Yeah, like, it is like a defining card for control. Like, control decks wouldn't work without Acerola. I mean, you could say that about a couple of supporters, like Lucymina as well.
Sure.
But she is basically defining in that sense. So, like, she could be A/S. I don't know. Really strong effect, to be fair.
Yeah, it's hard. Like, I would say A for Acerola just because, well, it's not to say it's going to be overpopulated of an S, but still, they are better cards, but this card was very good.
Yeah, Acerola more so found herself as like a 2 count rather than a 4 count. So I think an A is probably more fair than an S.
Indeed, if we're comparing it, for instance, with Lilies and Mallows and still, those cards just had the edge on this card still, like overall, for playability and such. Like, not to say this card was not good, it was amazing, but...
For sure.
Speaking of amazing cards, I will... this one has 2 prints, boys and girls. We are talking about Guzma, which comes in, those alternative art print, and the regular print, both which are not bad at all. not bad at all. Any gust effect has always been mad. So I'm gonna spare some trouble and say we probably have more population up in S for this one. This is and to compare with say Lysander, well, take it away, Joe. You know how this was.
Well, I mean, this meant that we didn't need to play any switches in our decks either. So you basically gained 4 deck spaces. Guzma, I believe, is the strongest supporter card ever printed. It's just like so efficiently strong, crazy card. Any gust is insane, and gaining switch effect on top just gave you so much versatility and let you cut corners really, really like greedily and not get punished. So
it was insane.
Incredible card.
Stall decks hated it because you couldn't lock up anything. They would just Guzma themselves out of it. It was terrible. Oh, it hurt. It hurt. But you know, I love the card still. It was still a nice card, but I don't miss it that much.
No, I don't think it was healthy for the game, but it was super cool to play. You were happy when you had it. Yeah.
You were happy. Like, it was like Guzma for game. That happened a lot. And this was not for game, but this was a good setup card for, I seen it in Ho-Ho, seen other, you know, in general, fire decks, right? Turdinator, these kind of things. You would dump a Kiawe turn 1 and you would pray your opponent had nothing.
Yeah, really important card for fire decks, right? It's the reason why you were able to not lose to Garb, because you didn't have to go crazy with like elixirs and stuff instead. So you got to just build up a big guy. Even if it was going on to Lele, it was still good presence. It made the Ho-Oh Turtle Volk deck kind of a thing.
It made it like, and dropped so many energies on the board. It could put so much pressure on your opponent. If they didn't have a direct answer, they were in for some serious trouble.
Yeah, it was like 4-turn win in a lot of situations, just because you were able to chain
what drags it down is that it was overall only used in fire decks. Obviously, it's not a card that will go in any deck, and so that's what takes it down a bit. But the effect itself, really, really good.
Yeah, I think he's like a strong C because like it's only really Lele turn 1 where you go for it, or it's like a panic play in like the mid game if you're really behind. So it's like so specific at what he was doing and only one type. So I think he was a C.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with C. I was debating between C and B myself, and I saw it had one other type of play, like to literally lock up a game state, like lock up a game. Like you would need that knockout. You would drop a Ho and just play a late game Kiawe, and the opponent had to like, okay, I need to Guzma and knock it out, otherwise game. That was also a play I saw so often. Like it was very scary when we were on the receiving end of that. I lost regional games too. They drummed the Ho-Ho, they Kiawa'd. I looked at my Sarua and I said pass, and then that was toast.
Yeah,
that happened.
That happens.
And you're like, that can't happen 2 out of 3 games, but yeah. The next one we have. Let's just carry on. We are looking at Plumeria. This card, I don't understand. In the beginning, correct me if I'm wrong, it didn't see too much play when it first was printed, but it kind of just increased in play. Like, it just got better and better, and, well, I would play 3 or 4 copies of it at some point, because sitting there and discarding opponent's energy is a real hobby of mine. But the card was really good. Underrated in the beginning and gained some play. Good card.
Yeah, it needed some like synergies to make it work, right? You needed to have a ton of like discardables to actually like chain it a lot of the time.
True.
So it was sort of more narrow in its use rather than like a skull, skull grunt that you could just sort of toss in and use at any point. You had to be a lot more tactical with Plumeria.
But Plumeria
so I might just
was a certainty when you played it. Skullgrunt was uncertain, right?
Yeah, true. I don't know. I feel like the Skullgrunt saw play for a much longer period of time, so I'd probably drop it by Kiawe more than likely.
It seems very reasonable. I'm okay with that. Like I'm not gonna sit here and say to people like I'm not listening to my guest in the studio here today. I think I'm listening a lot to Joe here today.
I mean, you played Plumeria a lot more than I did. That's for sure.
True. Like if I had my personal,
you're more of an expert than me. But
true. Yeah. Perhaps. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that you're D Joe from Omnipoke, right? Let's not discuss that. But I'm just saying, in terms of Plumeria, I think I played more Plumerias than you did in the course of this game.
For sure.
You would, if you go silent, you would hear me say Plumeria for this, Plumeria for that, or interchange it with a Flare Grunt. That was kind of what happened. Happened a lot. which was, by the way, why it was not played so much in the beginning, because Flare Grunt was a thing first, right?
Right.
There we go. That was the reason. Mm-hmm. Something that saw less play, but it still saw play. Sophocles.
Yeah, Sophocles was in this weird time where we just didn't have enough good supporters, so we filled like a random niche where we needed a bit of extra discard synergies in things like Metagross and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where you wanted to get rid of energy cards, and you just wanted to have some sort of draw effect that wasn't like shuffle draw, because you were digging towards like candy combos and stuff like that. So it filled a small niche for a small amount of time, but you never felt good about it, and it was always like the 10th best supporter you could be playing in terms of like count.
Indeed, and we've seen this effect before. Also, you play Felicity's Drawing back in Gyarados and these kind of things like way back. So I put it in a tier list already, but it's because you can't see where I put it, so I just want to see if I guess correctly where you want to put it. So well, I just blindly guessed now.
I mean, it's kind of like low C, high D. I kind of want to put it there. Things like Felicity saw a lot of play. That was like a really strong card because we were just yearning for discard synergies. Sure. But this was in a format of Ultra Ball already.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like a huge deal. And it did become quite obscure quite quickly. So I think it's more towards like an E.
So you went from a high D, low C to an E.
Oh, wait, sorry. Did I say high D, low C? Okay, let's go D then.
I guessed correctly. I dropped it in D. There we go.
Okay.
That's not so bad. I totally didn't influence you towards the D at the end. No. So I've heard a lot of puns on this card. I'm not going to say that on my channel here. That's not going to give too much away. But we're looking at Wiki. And when I come ahead with my analysis video, I'm going to have a factor saying that the card is female that's going to, boost the price of the card. And I think this is no exception.
S tier artwork, yes, true.
I didn't say that. I would like to point out I did not say that, but hey, fine, okay. But
yeah,
what about usability? What are we looking at here?
Yeah, this card saw no play. It's really, really poor. Very, very bad.
So is this what? Is the artwork is what saves it from an F tier? Is that what you're trying to...
Well, it can go next to HAL. It can be the same thing as HAL, where it's like happy in F tier.
Fair point.
Never a player card, but collectors flock towards it.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be so fun seeing this when I make the analysis. I'll let you know, Joe, how that goes and see the price buff on Vic.
Yeah.
Next one up is... fantastic card. It's amazing. It enabled certain people to play 26 one-offs or whatever. Insert name Sander Wojciech or something like that or other. You already guessed which one I'm talking about now, I think.
Absolutely adore this card as well. Gladian is so sick. I love the artwork and I love the effect as well.
It's a fantastic card. It was an amazing card. Like, let's future side a little here. They just printed, I don't remember the name, but it's basically a triple Gladian. Sorta.
Yeah.
I can already tell that card's going to be good. I think you already said in the video 10 times, but I also want to say it. That card's going to be good.
For sure. Cherry picking 1 of 6 is not even a bad effect either. It's like it's a Forest Guardian -1, which is quite an old effect. But yeah, it's like just cherry picking 1 of 6 for a useful card often just happens in like panic situations. It obviously had premium use in control decks where you didn't have to play like redundancy. Gladian became like the universal redundancy card, which again lets you cut corners, which is such a big deal when you can't otherwise access prizes. So super, super important card for those decks and just generally reasonable anyway.
And Gladian became better the better you were, in the sense of if you knew your deck very well and you knew your price, then Gladian just became even better. Like it rewarded you. It rewarded good play, I would say. Also, instant S tier.
I mean, I feel like this is, again, a solid B. It was, like, very important for control.
True.
And it didn't see enough play in enough normal decks. Like, some Zoroark decks played it because you had to cherry-pick DCEs.
But then again, you could play Town Map, right? We saw Town Map. There was a certain Schulz brother that was, like, marching ahead with Town Map and showing how this was going to be done,
Yeah,
but,
true.
Okay, B tier, that's fine.
I think B's fair.
Again, had this been my complete Stefan's personal list, applicable to stall this with instant S plus tier, but okay, I'll live with B tier.
It's sort of like we could put all of Control into like A tier together because they only worked because all of these cards were in the same format, kind of thing.
Well,
but some were more integral than others.
True. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this. If you're not S tiering the next card here, it has, so guess which one? It has 2 prints. One a little crazier than the other. They both looked absolutely gorgeous in my opinion. And they're broken. They got banned. Like, you cannot state how this got banned. And I must say how good this card was.
Yeah, facts. This Lucymine was a crazy, crazy card effect. Interestingly, mostly only ever for the supporter part of the effect. But actually in like other formats, the stadium recovery could have been like a huge deal. We didn't really have such important stadium wars. Obviously, Control could still use it in certain spots.
Control did it a lot, and I can tell you how they did it. So typically you have a good stadium first, like a lesser premium stadium, like say a Parallel City in the beginning, was very good. Yeah. Or you would play a Chaotic Swell later on in the end or something else. You would try to bait out their stadiums first.
Yeah, until
and then you would drop your Prison Star stadium at the end and be like, "Woo ha ha ha!" You push the stadiums out. That was the way to
stadium
do it.
Was whatever stadium you had was just annoying enough to be bounced 3 times, and then the lab comes in and wins you the game. Yeah,
exactly. You could just lock the game with a stadium. And then, of course, just the infinite resource recovery that you could grind your games. Like, I'm S tiering this, and you're not stopping me.
It's no. I agree. It's 100% S tier. It's a literally game breaking card. Super insane.
It broke the game, and. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That was all roll credits. We have seen the best supporter in the game already. I'm just gonna.
And ironically, I love playing like Lucymina in like cube formats and other stuff because it's like it feels fair when there's only like one of them in a cube, but you still get like such a strong effect.
The whole idea was when it was discovered that you could chain them with 2 Lucymines, and it just went nuts from there. That was the problem. As a single Lucymine, good innocent card, but not broken.
Yeah, and then.
Put 2 of these mad beep, 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 beep together, then you had something absolutely crazy. Now, Olivia. I saw Pedro play it. Does that count for something?
No. I think this is probably like a Hala card where like you could reasonably see some Zoroarks maybe play it.
That was exactly
they really shouldn't be because there was good ball search at the time. I think maybe when like Evo Soda rotated and we had to play like Great Ball Zoroarks, that was the only window to play Olivia.
Which is why
you probably still shouldn't have been.
Which is why I would E tier, to be honest.
I agree. Yeah.
Oh, that was easy. Like, we don't have to discuss some of these so long, but Shuffle Draw. And Shuffle Draw for 6. And especially when you had 2, I think both nice prints.
Yeah.
One of them is really expensive. I have know the prices of these here because I looked at it. They're both actually expensive now, but the second one, the alternate art, was very expensive also because it was harder to simply get. It was just harder to hit. But Shuffle Draw 6, good. Very good. But how
strong
good?
Effect. I think it's, again, tier S. I think it was a 4 of in every deck in the format for a long time. So basically format defining of most supporter engines. Great artwork, great character in the game, so really well liked for collectors as well. Just like a home run of a card, basically.
Card was absolutely amazing. Like it couldn't have been wilder, so to speak. And now this is the moment where I'm gonna do that awkward search for a picture because for some reason I'm missing the picture for a Lucymine of the specific other art. But in the meantime, while I'm searching, well, talk us through a Gardenia. Because I think that was interesting too, in its own right.
I mean, where did she ever see play? Did she actually see play in any deck? I'm trying to think.
Try to think. I can tell you some if you don't come up with something.
Yeah, go for it.
What if I say Secutor Levani? What about that stuff? Like really gross decks, but
okay. So that would have been Sander at Worlds, I guess.
Right? Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
I actually remember trying to build a Keldeo GX deck that also played Grass Energies just for Gardenia, because it wasn't only Grass Pokemon, it was anything with Grass Energies.
Yeah.
But still ended up basically seeing zero play. I mean, I probably am putting this more towards the F tier, even though there was like a highlight reel Sander moment. I mean, maybe you can justify an E, but it basically saw no play the entire time. In a format where you had heal the entire amount, like pick up a Pokemon, heal 80 was pretty weak.
That is true, but later on I can tell you I actually took a lot of championship points with Gardenia, because indeed I played, you mentioned it yourself, I played Keldeo with Gardenia, and that was actually a lot of fun. There was nothing more annoying for your opponent to have a rainbow attached and to go random Gardenia and to be like, what? And Executor I played on day 2 for the DC Open, I think it was.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
That was so much fun, because first round was against Behem, and they do nothing. They do absolutely nothing. like that's the only reason I would bump this a few tiers like above F. The heal was solid, like 80 heal was good, and you could heal from anyone, but it had to have a grass. But you could get around it by playing a rainbow.
Yeah, it's a card that would have seen play in different formats.
So my own opinion is that this would be D tiered along Sophocles, but maybe that's too high for you.
Maybe let's meet in the middle. Let's meet in the middle at E, I think.
Okay. Whoa, that you were willing to F tier this. I'm a little...
Yeah. You've got some bias there.
I got maybe some bias here. So, okay. How high can you talk up Lana for me?
Lana?
Yeah.
Oh, pretty low. I mean, I don't know what deck played this. Did any deck play this?
I'm going to help everybody and put this one down F tier. And remember, people, I haven't said it today, but I'm going to say it now. If you disagree with any of these tiers, feel free to use this comment section. I want to hear your input. Like, maybe you're like, Joe is right, Stefan's right, or you're both wrong. Like, that's probably going to happen. And I think it's nice to hear people's input. Like, did we F tier too much today, maybe?
Well, it's like someone's going to have a story like you do for Gardenia about... like Lana, right?
Oh, I played against a spread deck, and then I just healed everything. Yeah. We're gonna see it. But fun fact about the next card: in Spanish, he's called handsome. Did you know that?
No.
His actual card name is Handsome.
Oh, is that Looker?
That's Looker. Indeed, it's Looker.
Nice.
And fun thing here: it may be draw free, but I'm gonna argue it out of F tier.
Okay. Why are we arguing for it to be above that?
Well, I'm going to argue it up to an E tier for the simple fact that drawing bottom 3 was way better because it actually had synergies. You actually saw play with this card once in a full moon.
Good synergy.
Yeah, but they're simply like, even before the whole Guru became like a real thing, you actually saw things happening with Luca and Guru. It did happen.
Yeah.
And you did see fringe uses of this, like more than, say, How was ever used outside starter decks or Wiki was ever used. Like, this card actually saw it, and come on, I think artwork is awesome. The dude's eating a donut. What more do you want?
Looker is pretty sick. I don't mind dropping him in E.
Like, again, maybe I'm too nice, but I really think this deserves a way out of F tier.
I'm pretty sure it won a special event as well.
I was trying to think
about Viper Coco. Who was it? It was a German player. I can't remember his name.
I know, because I've been on the receiving end of this one.
Same. I lost him in top 4.
Okay, I lost him in Swiss Day 2, I think, or something like that. But I got my ass whooped.
Oh man, such a good player as well. I can't remember his name.
Apologies if you're watching this out there. Please just raise your hand. Hey, this was me. I did this. You whoop both me and Joe, I think. Maybe at different events, but you definitely whoop both of us. Carrying on, let's... we unfortunately got a lot to cover, but this card... Oh, Mars. Yeah. This is like, if you were not here, Joe, I would sneak this up in S tier along with all the other stall disrupt cards. Like, there was nothing better than Marsing off random stuff, and it also helped you win games against the clock.
Yeah, and exactly. Just knowing that Mars was a card made people play the entire game differently against control, because important pieces can't be held because there's a 1 in 7 that it just goes and evaporates from you. So whenever your opponent is trying to play slow, just looping Lucymine Mars just makes them just changes the clock, makes them Cynthia, makes them like throw away resources, which is super good for you. So again, like a really, really powerful and important effect for the control decks for sure.
I've seen the expression on people's face when they realize that instant when they realize I can't just slow play this anymore. You can just see it on their face. They go like from this like focused face like to they just die inside.
So I would actually put this like above Skullgrunt. I think this is actually an A tier because it's like a Skullgrunt. Obviously you don't get the knowledge, but you can hit all sorts of things. So really important. And you draw cards, which is never a bad thing for you.
Nope. So you saw this with Guru Pidgey. Fun. I can sit here and be like all happy all day. Fun fact, I still had a Guru in my wallet for protection.
Protection.
Oh, I think I had it in my phone. Seriously, like you see my phone. So I have my phone here, and I'm opening this for you guys out here. I think if I go in here, there's a Guru here and a Pidgeotto in my phone.
My lord.
And I don't think my daughter was a day old when I gave her a Guru card in her hand and took a picture. No, start practicing. That also happened. I'm not sorry about that.
Fantastic. Never had a chance.
Let's just carry on instead of seeing me drag out all kinds of random cards. But Guru, he attacked, he protected. We knew this. We know this. Volkner.
Oh, really, really strong card.
We are, this is, I can say Vikavolt. I can say many cool things about this card I can go with. That it was really good. Pikachu?
Well, Zapdos, Pikarom. Yeah. Shooter effect. Really, really solid shooter effect. It was damage. It was like gust. It was all sorts of different things you could piece together. It was early game consistency. It got you this was a Zapdos every single turn in a one prize deck.
Yeah.
That just looped, which is nutty.
100%. The only question I have to you, A or S?
I feel like it was so important in Pikarom and Zapdos. Like in Zapdos, it was more like a 2 to 3 count, I think, maximum. But Pikarom played solidly 4.
I think the only reason
unless it was Judge Rom,
the only reason I would A tier was because this is to a specific type. Had it been like a little more general, that it would A probably been banned, but B it would have been broken obviously, but then it would definitely been S tier. I think for the reason that it was locked on lightning, would A tier it.
I can see A. Yeah, A is fair.
Like simply because of the usability, but when it was used, it was free 4-offs, like no questions asked. Did you play this card? In other words, did you ever play Zygarde?
I don't think Zygarde even play this. There was definitely builds of Zygarde that didn't even use Bonnie, right?
Yeah, I know, and that was people looked like you would look at a card and the card, if the card could speak, it would be like, but why? I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, this is a classic.
I'm F-tiering this. I'm F-tiering it.
That's a classic Pokemon company spoon-feeding a combo and it just not being important at all.
Pokemon sit there baffled, like, what? Why? We are literally handing them it by writing on it and they're still not using it. No, I'm F-tiering this. I don't know about you.
Yeah, for sure.
And can I F-tier Crasher Wake as well?
Ooh, Crasher Wake was in the spicy Gyarados 40 energy meme deck.
No, are we gonna? You said meme.
That.
You said meme.
I lost to that in a cup.
Oh god. Oh, gross.
Did it see playing anything else? It didn't see playing like Gyarados or anything. No, because it's water energies. No. Let's drop him pretty low. Let's drop him F.
Like,
I mean, for defining for a meme, but yeah.
Yeah, but we're not going to spend too much time on this one. Diantha, however.
Ooh, she was a good card.
I played a one-off in Sylvia, and I definitely played this in Grumble. It was fantastic in Grumble.
Super important for Grumble, yeah.
And again, it's type-specific, sure, but the card was strong. Recovering things, strong.
I feel like it's probably more towards like the B side of things because it was like exactly a great one-of in like Sylveon, and in Grumble it was like a 1-2 maximum. But it was always like solidly in there and served
it's either a B or a C tier. You're laying around that area, and we can be forgiving and give it a B tier because the effect was just so good. People would actively try and play around it.
And Grumble was tier 1 at a point, I think.
Yeah.
Like in the Lost Thunder format, it was definitely tier 1.
It was, yeah, okay, we could discuss whether it was tier 1 or 1.5 or something, but it was definitely
Sure.
up there. 100%
Yeah.
up there. I'm not going to sit and argue against that. That would be stupid. Now,
Yeah.
Ultra Recon Squad. Ooh. So, did you
Ultra
play Beast
One
Box
Squad.
ever?
I unfortunately did. But yeah. I remember testing Beast Box for Worlds, man.
I've seen a guy, I know the guy who day 2 this at EUIC.
Jeez, what a beast.
Maybe you should go and ask Meaty how it felt. Or was it Stefan? I think it was Stefan that took a beating to this here. Like, maybe we should ask him if he can remember this.
Jeez. Yeah, let's F this so we don't have to remember that.
Oh, you're effing this? I would eat it, but
I mean,
it's
even Beast Box
draw 6.
didn't. Yeah, but it didn't always even play Recon Squad.
Okay. I'm not agreeing here. Blah 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 blah. Apricot Maker.
Well, Apricorn's good. Apricorn again was a Grumble card.
But again, just a Grumble card. Like, come on. This was not much more than a Grumble card.
Yeah, fair. But he was integral to the
like
the deck wouldn't work without him.
Fair.
Right.
And I like the artwork.
And he's a sick reprint from Skyridge, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That is true. Oh, those cards were like, those sets, magnificent. No, my idea up front was a D tier for this guy, actually.
Yeah, I think D feels a little bit harsh to me, but I don't know. I remember even playing it as like a one-of in Zoroark when we had to play 4 Great Ball, which really felt bad.
Oh, no.
That was shocking, I know.
Did you do that? Seriously? Did you really do that?
Yeah, I won a tournament with Apricot Maker Zoroark. Don't worry about it.
No.
Yeah, let's...
you didn't talk me out of D yet. Try again.
Let's D it. Oh dear. He was good for Grumble though.
I appreciate your effort. So this card was printed before, and then you actually played it sometimes because draw 3 back then was decent, and you shuffled in. But I would argue this is an instant F. Bills maintenance.
Yeah, insta F. There was a lot better. Even just regular draw 3 in the format was obviously not seeing any play. So
yeah, it was just to maybe save some resources, I would argue. So for people seeing this chart right now, it's being pretty bottom heavy so far. Like, we have F'd a lot today, and
it's one of those things where we had such good S tier supporters that basically a lot didn't have a look in.
It was a polarization essentially. Just it was either super good or super bad. Yeah. But this one is not. It was super good back in the day. Like, it's been printed many times, this card, Copycat, and it has so many beautiful artworks. I think this one is also really cool.
S tier artwork for sure.
Yeah, 100%. But if the art were early, this list would have been completely different. Yes, 100%. But the card, especially here, the last print run here, it didn't really see much play.
No, we didn't have any good like equal hand size synergy like Pokemon in the format.
No. Then you could judge. And
there was judge and let loose, so that instantly drops the card down, probably to like E. Like, I wouldn't hate seeing a copycat in a deck, whereas like we'd hate seeing all the things in F in a deck. No, I agree. Like, I would E tier certainly, but you could even talk me up on D simply because of the history of this card. I know it's not supposed to be a factor, but this one just carries so much history with it. Like, if we're going lifetime, this is a completely different conversation. But yeah, in this format, E is like the highest it can go, I'd say. Yeah, because if we go lifetime, I've sit and played Copycat in so many decks when I started playing 15 years ago. I have won on my opponent playing a Copycat and then ask how many cards I have in my hand. Today is not your day. I was like, how many cards do you have? And he plays it down. He was happy he drew a support. He was like ecstatic because he was, bricking. Then he plays down Copycat, asks how many cards, and I say 22. And his heart just sunks and he decks himself out. That's so stupid. I was like, do you want to let me take it back? No. Maybe a little mean, but it was fun. So, Licia. This is an interesting card because tutor effects are normally like pretty strong. It's a pretty like specific tutor effect. And in a game where we had Lele. I did try and play it because you could Lele for it. Yeah, so some Buzz decks played it and some
Yeah.
Pikas played it, right? I think
Yeah.
that was the two. Don't think
Indeed,
it really
and
saw playing anything
that
else. But
alone bumps it out of F tier.
for sure, for sure. I
Just
still
how
feel like
high.
it was on the rogue side. I don't know. I think like D is probably the highest it goes.
And that's because the artwork was not terrible either. Let's get the whole color thing. Okay, I'm not saying it, but the color is nice also.
Yeah, true, true. I
So,
think D is probably fair for the card.
yeah.
I
I'm
think
okay
it was
with
actually underplayed for how strong the tutor was because you had like such big power spikes if you hit Diancie Beast Energy in some matchups. It was just so much
So
pressure.
here's your next objective, Joe. Talk me out of S tiering the following. S plus tier it. Like if I could S plus 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 triple plus.
It's going to be Steven, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's Steven. Oh, it's Steven.
Man, I misevaluated this card like so badly. I remember in a set review. Oh, it made me so upset because people were like rating it really high, and I was like, I don't see how you can rate this card high. It's such a slow effect.
And then you saw it.
And then I realized when you make the game go 100 turns, you're allowed slow effects. So yeah, Steven's Resolve integral for control and really, really solid tutor effect.
Yeah, like, and you could see it in so many decks. Like, as long as you didn't get dunked, this card was absolutely D. You know, it was. Yeah. Can you talk me down S tiering it? It was so.
I
good.
actually, it's like Lucymine. It's like it was defining for control the entire time in whatever iteration that it was.
And the card was also even saw play and other things, fringe play, but it was just so good. You could set up a combo like. You could Stevens and somebody would even sort with Meganium or something like that. People could, pull off some sick combos. If you didn't get judged or something, you could just lose.
Yeah.
So, this card saw a lot of play because it had two effects to choose between. And I'm sad to say I probably used it way too many times turn one because you had nothing else. And you've probably done the same.
Yeah, I like choose two effects though in the game in general. I think we need to see a lot more supporters like this. I think it'll just make these sorts of effects just like they're just good to have in card games where it makes them versatile in a lot of different situations.
You see, you're not in the part 2 of the Sun and Moon here because then we're going to talk tag team supporters, which is a whole other way of saying an extra effect. And overall, I'm okay. I was okay with those.
Yeah,
fine. I like the idea because the cost was significant to pull it off. But now we're talking Tantalizer. The card was good. Like, no doubt the card was good. The choices you had were both good. Switch. Sometimes you just won on a switch. Like, okay. Because of searchable switch.
Yeah, really, really solid. I think around probably B, I would say.
I was going to say B tier, yeah. And I'm completely okay with that.
Yeah.
You guys out there, if you're watching this or listening to this, well, argue against it if you want, or do you agree? Let us know. But
I mean, straight Shuffle 5 was played in some formats. We weren't happy about it, but it was played. And then tagging a switch on top is really cool.
I had a discussion with Ross about would you play Shauna or Birch's Observations?
Depends on the deck, but typically I would always play Birch.
See, you try and talk with Ross about it because I said the same. I always play Birch because average value
5.5.
Yeah. Oh, you wouldn't buy it. He was hard stand, like no way. So I said we're going to pull it eventually. So maybe you would help on that. We should pull it and ask guys.
I believe there was like one deck where I played one of each, just for when I'm in that versus Seeker situation and they're both in there. I can have the choice of being like, do I need to high roll to win this game, or can an average hand win me the game?
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, I like that idea, but no.
I mean, 5.5 is 5.5, right? Yeah.
You're talking to a guy who I do statistics for a living,
Yeah.
T reporter. So when this card was in the older days, so fun fact, I actually owned a reverse version from Dragon.
Ooh, nice.
Did I sell it for way too little? Yes, I did. Was it in good condition? No.
Okay, fine.
So it was like in somewhere between played and heavy played. I still pulled $150 on it at that time, which is good. If you did it today, you would just add a zero or something crazy. Cards price gone crazy.
Sure.
I haven't seen this card surface in forever, actually.
No.
But this time here, around here when it got reprinted, I was happy because it was a nostalgia effect for me.
Sure.
But then you realize the card was not very good now.
Yeah. this effect isn't that strong. You don't want to have the
Like,
discard synergy, right, in a lot of decks.
does this bump itself out of F tier to E tier or not?
I think it might have just scraped E tier.
I'm okay with that.
I think it was played in some Mali decks, right, when we were lacking discard synergy.
True. Yeah, true. Because you could discard from any card in your hand right after you drew the free. That was important.
Yeah, had to be after to make it. To make it reasonable. But yeah,
that's true. So I'm gonna state it here. This card I played in the old days, and I've been wishing for this one to be reprinted, and then I didn't even play it that much. But the artwork itself, I think it's beautiful, absolutely stunning. Them blue eyes, damn. Underground expedition. Yeah.
I really like this card effect as well. To be honest,
super good.
Choose 2 from 4 is actually like, it's weak, but it's not like that weak. And again, I like anything when you're making the decision. You know,
yeah, it's not F tier, but I cannot. Unfortunately, as much as I want to high tier this card, I don't think it belongs higher than E.
No, it's an E, probably low E, to be honest with you. But yeah,
but the artwork is fantastic. I think it's amazing. But okay. So here we have another S tier plus card. It's absolutely fantastic card that could define game tempo and discard things and lost zone them on top of that and just say like goodbye, you lost, haha. So I'm just gonna put this in S tier unless you stop me. What are we talking about?
I mean, I think Faba is probably more towards an A than an S. Realistically, it is really good removal.
I'm overplaying this, of course, because this card was amazing. I feel it was amazing, but let's just be fair. I'm completely okay with A tier. The card was great, but it was not like game breaking.
Yeah, and hard removal in a format where we had puzzles was really important. So, like comparing it to a Zerosic, it's just like really important to be lost zoning instead. So yeah, hard removal very, very strong.
Yeah, and you could also remove tools. Remember that?
Yep.
And stadiums.
Yep.
It had choices. It was amazing. How many times have you lost on Judge?
Don't ask me that. Let loose and Judge. What a ruined the Sun and Moon format. I think
it made you just demotivated to play.
Yeah.
But if you ask my brother about this, he's gonna say it's the best card in existence because you won Worlds with this, and you will never stop on this. But at that time, the card was actually more fair. At that time. But it's high. But how high? Disruption is good. Can't get around that.
I think it's probably A tier. This wasn't a format where we had Marshadow as like a better option, but Pikachu Judge was definitely high tier for a long time.
Oh, was it Logan who played this the whole time and ruined everybody's day? Because
going to every League Cup expecting to go to a 4-card hand and just being under full blitz pressure from turn 2 was just like horrendous.
It was terrible, and I'm gonna F tier this. I never played it. There's not many cards left, right? So we're talking about Kahili. I would put it even lower if I could.
Yeah, bless her. She is useless.
Bless her, she's useless. This card, however, it did see play, and I like the artwork. For fairy decks, this was good. I seen in Gardevoir Sylvia, and you could ruin your day because you could literally pull off the attack real quick. And it could increase your tempo a bit. You needed it. Sure, you could do some cool stuff with this, but an artwork is amazing. Did I tell you that? And artwork is amazing. Yeah. And but how high does this push the card?
I'm trying to remember Guardian how often it was actually played in Green's Guardian. Was it like a 2 count?
It was
a 1-off.
It was a 1-off, I think. 1-off.
Yeah, just for tempo.
Yeah.
Probably E then, right?
I'm dragging it over. I was already dragging it downwards, and
just remember that Japan played Mewtwo Mina instead of Mewtwo Welder for like a month.
I'm trying to get that through my head right now. I'm just thinking, Jesus.
Just so that they could Altaria people. Yeah, wow, what a terrible decision that was.
I don't know. Sometimes you think Japan, they're onto something, and other times you just look at it and you're like, what?
I've been baited many times by some spicy deck lists.
Oh, that was terrible. And, let me see. I got a few cards remaining here. And, I got a few. And these are the moments where I did a dum-dum and forgot to drag in some cards in my little show here. So people are going to see some very big prints of cards showing up here.
Oh, boy. Okay.
And one of them is a Pokemon breeder. So let's start with that one. This is going to look so pro when this video comes up, guys. But hey, dude, we're just making this on the fly. We're having a good discussion. And I can find at least one person who played Pokemon breeder.
Really? That's more than me. Who played breeder?
Ask Sander how that went.
Oh, Sander played breeder? What? When was the heal relevant over like other switch effects?
When there was a situation where you went from a 2-shot to a 3-shot.
Right, okay.
It actually made difference at some point. I should actually just ask him when that was a thing, because I don't remember on top, but I'm just F-tiering it, don't worry. I'm F-tiering it.
Okay, fine.
And I have to put a little across Kahili here to have space on my screen now, because we F-tier so much stuff, you know?
Yeah. I think it's growing as well, possibly.
Oh, this is... I can at least see one more go down there, but it's not Blaine. I think Blaine is cool. I wanted this out of F-tier, because when I saw the car, I was like, this car is cool, really cool. Blaine has always been cool dude, you know?
Yeah, agreed.
But did you play it? I didn't.
Certainly not, no.
I'm F-tiering it, sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I wish you did better, but no. Yeah. Are you joined by Zinnia?
Yeah, Zinnia's is that the last one on our list today?
No, we got one more after Zinnia. Wait.
Okay.
Or did we have one more? Now I have to absolutely be sure before I say something stupid. We may
It's the last one I can see.
Yeah, it is the last one on the list, because I had one. I will save Morty for next episode.
Okay, it's nice. Keep on that cliffhanger. Nice.
Well, wonder what that's gonna be, you know? You would never guess what that's gonna be rated, boys and girls. But Zinnia is the last one for today, yes.
Zinnia feels like such a powerful effect when it's ramping 2 energies that you need to have in hand. Like, we know Welder now, and you think that would be nuts, but just the targets for Dragon types are just so poor.
Yeah, but had the targets been better? Like, I've seen it been played before, but I'm F-tiering it, man. Like,
there weren't any targets for it. Yeah.
So, I'm going to put it there. So, people are going to see, you're going to watch this video back just for the last 2 minutes to see how stacked that F tier is at the end. Like, I should just stack them on top of each other. It's so, guys. I wish we had better cards, but we're going to see a nice little shape, like, a valley in the middle. There's a couple of cards in C, and then you have a heavy distribution in the 2 ends. It's mad, guys. But I would like to take the opportunity here and say thank you so much for your time, Joe.
No problem. It's been a lot of fun.
We got some good stories in here. You had a lot of fun to tell us here. Ooh.
Yeah, memory lane looking at some of this stuff.
This is cool. Like, thanks again for your time. And for you guys out there, I hope you enjoyed it. And again, if you didn't agree or if you agreed, well, let us hear it. I also want to hear your opinion on this here. It's we are just two people with two opinions here, and we tend to agree sorta or most of the time. But if you have something to say, let us know. And otherwise, this was another episode of Pokémath. My name is Stefan Eriksson, and, well, until next time. And thanks again, Joe.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Bye, guys.